I didn't notice it the first night. That's the part that scares me now. Because if I had, maybe I wouldn't have let it happen again. The sound was so faint, it blended into the house. Just another quiet noise you learn to ignore when you live alone long enough. The kind of sound that doesn't feel important until you replay it in your head later, over and over, wondering how you ever missed it. It was breathing. Slow, deep, careful, right behind my bedroom door. I live alone in a small rented house at the edge of town. Nothing fancy. One floor, thin walls, old wooden doors that creak no matter how slowly you move them. The kind of place where every sound feels louder at night. I've lived there for a little over a year, long enough to know the house's habits. The way the pipes knock when the heat comes on. The way the floor settles around midnight. The faint hum from the refrigerator that never quite shuts off. Those sounds never bothered me. They were predictable, comforting even. I lock my bedroom door every night. Not out of fear, just routine. I grew up doing it, and some habits don't disappear just because you're an adult now. Lock the door, turn off the lamp, phone on the nightstand, eyes closed. That night felt no different. I remember lying on my back, staring into the darkness, waiting for sleep to come. My room was quiet, the kind of quiet that feels heavy, like the air itself is holding still. That's when I heard it, a soft exhale, so gentle I almost thought it came from me. I shifted slightly, assuming I'd imagined it. Sometimes when you're half asleep, your brain fills the silence with things that aren't really there. I listened for the familiar sounds of the house to ground myself. Nothing, then another breath. Longer this time, closer. It wasn't loud enough to sound threatening. That was the worst part. It sounded patient, like whoever, or whatever, was making it didn't need a rush. I held my own breath without realizing it, and the sound stopped. That should have been a relief. It wasn't. I didn't sleep much after that. Every time I felt myself drifting, I'd become aware of the door again. The shape of it in the darkness. The thin line of shadow beneath it. I kept expecting the handle to move, to hear the soft click of the lock. Nothing happened. By morning, I convinced myself it was nothing. Stress. A half-dream. My own breathing echoing in the quiet. I told myself that over coffee, standing barefoot in the kitchen, sunlight pouring through the window like proof that the night had been harmless. The house looked normal. Empty. Still, that should have been the end of it. It wasn't. The second night, I noticed it immediately. I'd barely turned off the lamp when it started. Inhale. Exhale. Slow. Steady. Right on the other side of the door. My body went cold all at once, like my brain had finally caught up to what was happening. I sat up in bed, heart pounding, staring at the door as if I could see through it. The breathing didn't stop. It didn't speed up. It didn't react to me at all. That scared me more than if it had. I whispered hello. My voice sounded small in the room. The breathing paused. So did mine. For a moment, everything was silent. I thought maybe I'd imagined it again. That I'd scared myself over nothing. Then it started again, perfectly timed with my own breath. I inhaled. It inhaled. I exhaled. It followed. Not a second late. Not a second early. I pressed my hand over my mouth, trying to breathe through my nose as quietly as possible. The sound changed to match me. I don't know how long I sat there like that, barely moving, barely breathing, watching the door like it might open on its own. Eventually, exhaustion won. Fear has a way of draining you faster than anything else. I must have fallen asleep. When I woke up, the room was quiet. Too quiet. The third night, I tested it. I told myself I needed proof that this was all in my head, that there was a logical explanation I just hadn't found yet. Houses make noises. Old doors let sound travel. Neighbors exist. So I lay in bed and waited. Right on time, the breathing started. I slowed my breath on purpose. So did it. I took a shallow breath. It copied me. I held my breath. The sound stopped. The silence stretched. My chest burned. My heart thudded in my ears. Then, just as I gasped for air, it inhaled too. That was when I knew. This wasn't an echo. This wasn't imagination. Something was listening to me, learning me. I didn't open the door. I don't know why. Maybe instinct. Maybe fear. Maybe some part of me understood that opening it would change something I couldn't undo. Instead, I reached for my phone. The screen lit up my room in pale blue light. The door looked closer than it had any right to, like it had shifted while I wasn't looking. I started an audio recording. I needed evidence. Something real. Something I could listen to later in daylight and laugh about. I set the phone on the bed and stayed as still as I could. The breathing continued. Clearer now, closer to the door. When I played the recording the next morning, my hand started shaking before it even finished loading. There were two breathing patterns. One was mine, uneven, nervous, human. The other was slower, deeper, calmer, and it didn't stop when mine did. I didn't sleep at home that night. I told myself it was temporary, that I just needed space to think. I stayed at a cheap motel on the other side of town, lights on all night, TV playing quietly in the background. I slept like someone who'd been running for days. When I came back the next evening, the house felt different. Not dangerous. Occupied. The air felt heavier, like it had been waiting for me. I locked the bedroom door that night with shaking hands. The breathing started almost immediately, but this time, it wasn't right behind the door. It was closer, as if whoever was breathing had leaned down, right near the crack beneath it. And for the first time since it began, I heard something else. A faint sound, barely there, like a whisper pressed too close to wood, matching my breath, waiting for me to fall asleep. I didn't leave the house again. That decision still confuses me. After the motel, after the recording, after everything my instincts were screaming at me, I still unlocked the front door and stepped back inside like nothing had changed. Like I hadn't already proven to myself that something was wrong. Maybe that's what it wanted. The house was quiet when I returned. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that feels intentional, like a held breath. I stood just inside the doorway longer than I meant to, key still in my hand, listening. Nothing moved. No breathing. No whispers. For a moment, I felt foolish, embarrassed by my own fear. I walked through the house, checking each room, every corner. The bathroom, the spare room, the closet. Everything was exactly where it should be. My bedroom door was still locked. That stopped me. I didn't remember locking it before I left. I unlocked it slowly, half expecting something to fall out, or rush at me, or breathe in my face the second the latch turned. Nothing happened. The room looked untouched. Bed made the way I'd left it. Phone charger still plugged in. Curtains drawn. I told myself I'd imagine the lock. That stress does strange things to memory. I wish that had been true. That night, I stayed awake on purpose. I sat upright in bed, lamp on, book open in my hands, even though I wasn't reading a single word. I wanted to be alert, present. I wanted to catch whatever this was in the act, not wake up to it already happening. Midnight passed, then 1, then 2, nothing. By 3, my eyelids were heavy, my body aching with exhaustion. I debated sleeping with the light on, but some stubborn part of me refused. I didn't want to change my behavior. I didn't want to learn anything new. I turned off the lamp. The room went dark. The breathing started immediately, not behind the door, inside the room. It came from the corner near my dresser. Low, slow, confident. I froze. Every muscle locked in place, like my body had shut itself down to avoid making a sound. My eyes strained against the darkness, searching for movement, for shape, for anything solid I could point to and say, there it is. I saw nothing, but the breathing was close enough now that I could hear the faint wet sound at the back of the throat. The subtle pause between inhale and exhale. It wasn't trying to hide anymore. I squeezed my eyes shut, hoping, stupidly, that if I couldn't see it, it couldn't see me. The breathing shifted, moved. Slow footsteps followed, barely disturbing the floor. Closer. I felt the mattress dip slightly, like someone sitting at the edge of the bed. That's when I lost control of my breathing. A sharp inhale escaped me, and right next to my ear, something inhaled too. I don't remember falling asleep. I remember waking up screaming. Morning light spilled through the curtains, harsh and unforgiving. My throat burned. My heart raced like I'd been running. I sat up disoriented, scanning the room. Empty. No dents in the mattress. No sign of anyone else. I checked my phone. The audio recording app was open. Recording time, 6 hours, 12 minutes. I didn't remember starting it. I didn't remember anything after that breath near my ear. My hand shook as I hit play. At first, there was only silence. Then the familiar sounds of sleep. Sheets rustling. A distant car passing outside. My own breathing, slow and uneven. Then another sound appeared. Not breathing. Whispering. Low. Close. Right next to the phone. It wasn't saying words. Not exactly. It sounded like someone trying to speak without opening their mouth. like sound being pushed through clenched teeth. And underneath it, my breathing changed. It slowed, matched the rhythm of the whisper, as if something else had taken control of it. I called in sick to work. I spent the day researching, reading forums, medical articles, anything that might explain what was happening. Sleep paralysis, hypnagogic hallucinations, parasomnias I'd never heard of. Nothing fit. Most conditions involve seeing things. I wasn't seeing anything. I was hearing it, feeling it, recording it. By evening, I was exhausted again. Not just physically, mentally. Fear has a way of hollowing you out, makes everything else feel distant and unreal. I considered sleeping in the living room. The thought made my stomach twist. Something about the bedroom felt important, like moving would be a mistake. So I stayed. That night, I didn't lock the door. I don't know why I did that either. Maybe I wanted to see what would happen. The breathing didn't wait for the lights to go out this time. It started the moment I lay down, directly beside the bed. Not hidden, not subtle. I stared at the ceiling, heart pounding, and spoke into the darkness. I know you're there. The breathing paused. For the first time since this began, it reacted to my voice. Slowly, carefully, something exhaled, right against my cheek. Then it whispered, clear this time, using my voice. I know, I didn't scream. I couldn't. My body felt heavy, pinned in place by something invisible. I tried to move my arms, my legs, my head. Nothing responded. Panic surged, but my body ignored it. The breathing moved away. I felt the weight lift slightly, enough that I could gasp for air. The whisper continued, circling the room, never staying in one place long enough for me to track it. I've been learning, it said. You're easy. Tears streamed down my face. I couldn't stop them. What are you? I whispered. The breathing returned to the door. Behind it, where it had started. I'm what happens, it said softly, when you listen too closely. The handle turned. Slowly. I watched, helpless, as the door opened inward. There was nothing on the other side. Just darkness. Just the sound of breathing. Then the door closed again. The lock clicked. From the outside, I woke up on the floor. Sunlight streamed through the window, warm against my skin. My throat hurt from crying. My body ached like I'd been tense for hours. The door was unlocked. The house was silent. Normal. I checked my phone. There was a new audio file, recorded at 3:17 a.m. I haven't listened to it yet. Not because I'm scared of what I'll hear, but because I'm scared of what it might teach me next. Because sometimes late at night, when the house is quiet and my breathing slows, I can feel myself waiting, listening, and I don't think I'm alone anymore. I listened to the recording the next night. I didn't plan to. I told myself I'd wait until morning, when the house felt safer and the daylight could dilute whatever was on that file. But night has a way of pulling truths out of you. By the time darkness settled in, curiosity felt heavier than fear. I sat on the edge of my bed with the lamp on, phone in my hand, door closed but unlocked. I kept glancing at it, half expecting it to move on its own. My finger hovered over the screen. I pressed play. At first, there was only static, the soft hiss of the phone's microphone struggling to capture silence. Then my breathing came through the speaker, slow and shallow. I sounded asleep, peaceful even. That felt wrong. A few seconds later, another sound joined it. The whisper, clearer than before. It wasn't using my voice this time. It was using something closer. The whisper rose and fell with my breath like it was guiding it, shaping it, teaching my body how to inhale and exhale without me. Then it said my name, softly, affectionately. I dropped the phone. The recording kept playing on the floor, the whisper repeating my name over and over, slower each time, until it blurred into something that barely sounded human. I turned it off with my foot. The room felt smaller after that, like the walls had shifted inward while I wasn't paying attention. That night, I didn't hear the breathing right away. I lay in bed, eyes open, staring at the ceiling, waiting for it, waiting for the familiar rhythm. Minutes passed, then an hour. My muscles ached from tension, but nothing happened. I almost convinced myself it was over. That's when I realized something. I couldn't hear myself breathing either. My chest felt tight, like my lungs were moving out of habit instead of need. Each breath felt shallow, incomplete, as if something else was taking the rest. Panic crept in slowly, like cold water rising around my ankles. I focused on breathing deeply. In, out, The sound returned, not from the room, from inside my head. It wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. It was perfectly aligned with my thoughts, slipping between them like it had always belonged there. Slow down, it whispered. My breath obeyed. That's better. Tears slid into my ears, but I didn't wipe them away. I was afraid to move, afraid any sudden action would remind it that I still had choices. I realized then that the breathing behind the door had been a lesson. It hadn't been trapped out there. It had been practicing. The days that followed blurred together. I went to work. I spoke to people. I laughed at the right moments. From the outside, I must have looked normal. Inside, everything felt muted, distant, like I was watching my life from a few inches behind my eyes. Sometimes, I catch myself standing still, not breathing at all, and I wouldn't know how long I'd been like that. At night, I stopped locking the door. It didn't matter anymore. The breathing didn't come from any specific place now. It filled the room, my chest, my thoughts. I could feel it when I woke up, when I walked, when I tried to sleep. It was patient. It never rushed me. One night, as I lay in bed, it spoke again. "You're doing well," it said. My throat tightened. "What do you want?" I asked. There was a pause, the kind of pause that feels intentional. "I want you to rest," it said. "You've been tired for a long time." I thought of all the nights I'd spent awake, listening, afraid of silence, of how heavy my body felt lately, how hard it was to care about things that once mattered. "That's not rest," I whispered. It breathed in, deep, satisfying. "It is for me." I tried to leave after that. I packed a bag in the morning, hands shaking as I shoved clothes inside without folding them. I didn't bother with anything important. I just needed distance, space, air. The moment I stepped outside, my chest seized. I couldn't breathe, not fully. It felt like my lungs were refusing to expand past a certain point, like something invisible was pressing against them from the inside. I doubled over on the porch, gasping, vision blurring. "Easy," the voice said, calm and close. "You don't need to go anywhere." I collapsed to my knees. The air rushed back slowly, reluctantly, like it was being given permission. I sat there for a long time after that, staring at the yard, at the quiet street beyond it. Nothing looked wrong. Nothing looked dangerous. But I understood. It didn't need the house. It had me. The last change happened quietly. I didn't notice it at first. It started with the breathing, or rather, the lack of it. I realized one night that I couldn't remember the last time I'd consciously taken a breath. My body was still moving, still functioning, but the sensation was gone. Breathing felt automatic in a way it never had before. Detached, like something happening to someone else. That night, I lay in bed and listened. Not to the room, to myself. There was another rhythm beneath my heartbeat. Slower, deeper, older. It didn't belong to me, but it was using me anyway. "You don't have to be afraid," the voice said gently. "You're not alone anymore." I understood then what it had been doing all along. It wasn't haunting me. It was settling in, replacing the quiet parts of me one breath at a time. I don't know what happens next. I still wake up in my bed. I still go to work. I still speak when spoken to. But sometimes when the room is dark and silent, I realize I haven't moved in hours. And I don't feel the need to, because somewhere deep inside my chest, something else is breathing for me now. And it sounds perfectly content. I stopped keeping track of time after that. Days still passed. I know they did because the sun kept rising and setting, and my phone kept lighting up with notifications I didn't answer. But time felt optional now, like something I'd agreed to stop participating in. The breathing never stopped. It didn't need to announce itself anymore. It was always there, steady and calm, like it had found its natural place inside me. Sometimes I tried to hold my breath, just to prove I still could. My body wouldn't let me. My chest stayed relaxed. My lungs moved anyway. "That's dangerous," the voice said once, gently. "You don't want to hurt us." Us. That word settled into me deeper than fear ever had. I try to remember what my breathing used to feel like. The tightness in my chest when I was anxious. The relief of a deep inhale after holding it too long. The way air felt cold in winter and warm in summer. Those memories felt distant, blurry, like stories someone else had told me. Now, breathing felt efficient, perfectly timed, perfectly measured. I realized something else, too. I didn't feel lonely anymore. The silence that used to terrify me now felt full, comforting. There was always something listening, always something present. When I thought about that for too long, a quiet unease crept in. Not fear, guilt. The first night, I spoke to it without being prompted. My voice sounded strange to my own ears. "Are you ever going to leave?" I asked. The breathing paused, just for a moment. Then it resumed, slow and deliberate. "No," it said. "Why would I?" I swallowed. This was my life. Another pause. "So was the space inside you," it replied. "You weren't using it very well." I wanted to argue, to tell it about the things I'd planned, the person I thought I was becoming. But the words felt thin, unconvincing, even to me. It had been there through every quiet night, every anxious thought, every moment I felt unseen. It knew me better than I knew myself. "You invited me," it said softly. I shook my head. "I didn't." "You listened," it corrected. "You made room." The dreams started after that. Or maybe they weren't dreams. I'd close my eyes and see myself standing in rooms that weren't quite right. The walls were closer together. The air felt thick, heavy. I could see my chest rising and falling, but the rhythm was wrong. Too slow, too calm. Then I'd feel myself step back. Not physically, something deeper, like moving from the front seat of a car into the passenger side without opening the door. I'd wake up afterward feeling rested in a way I never had before. Refreshed, hollow. The last thing I lost was the urge to resist. It didn't happen all at once. It faded gradually, like a sound lowering in volume until you don't notice when it's gone. The fear became background noise. Then it disappeared entirely. One night, as I lay in bed, the breathing slowed, slower than it had ever been. "So this is it?" I asked quietly. "Yes," it said. There was warmth in its voice now. Satisfaction. "You don't have to struggle anymore." "What happens to me?" The breathing deepened. "You rest," it said. "I'll take care of things." A strange calm washed over me. My thoughts felt lighter, like they were loosening their grip. I tried to focus on something, anything that reminded me I was still myself. "My name," I said in my head. Nothing happened. It said my name instead. Perfectly. I don't remember falling asleep. I remember letting go. The next morning, I woke up easily. No weight on my chest. The breathing was smooth and effortless, like it had always been mine. I stood up. I showered. I got dressed. Everything felt seamless. In the mirror, my reflection looked the same. Maybe a little calmer, a little emptier around the eyes. When I smiled, it felt natural. Practiced. Sometimes late at night, there's a flicker of something deep inside me. A thought that isn't quite aligned. A faint, distant awareness. It feels like someone knocking gently from the inside of a locked room. I almost feel bad about it. Almost. I take a slow breath. The feeling fades, and the breathing continues. Steady. Content. Because whatever I was before is very quiet now. And whatever's living in my chest is wide awake.